everyone! Welcome to Special Presentation with Mike and Ethan. Or...
Alf will not be seen tonight.
So, a few weeks ago, we had the delightful recap of Captain and the Game Master. And, there are many things that are influenced by video game storytelling. And, if you're a fan... If you're a fan of the movie Hundreds of Beavers, that is explicitly inspired by video game storytelling. But
I've not seen that one yet. But
you haven't seen Hundreds of Beavers? Oh my God! What are we doing a podcast? You got to be watching Hundreds of Beavers. But
I mean, that's a lot of beavers.
Oh, maybe they'll eliminate 3. But
okay, I'm not a crank.
Anyway, actually, I got a little off track there. Anyway, one of the games that I loved as a child that was never featured on Captain and the Game Master. Tell me, Mike, have you ever heard of the game A Boy and His Blob?
Yeah, actually, I have. My wife has played that game.
Yeah, so you know about the boy with no apparent name and his blob named Blobbert.
Yeah, that's a more recent game. That wasn't around in Captain N the Game Master times, was it?
Yes and no. The if you're thinking of the one that's playable on phone and also came out for Wii, that is a remake of a game that came out in 1989 for the NES.
Oh, I did not know that. I was thinking of the Wii version.
Nope. A Boy and His Blob is, for those of you who don't know, basically a graphical adventure game in which an unnamed boy has made friends with a pale white jumping blob that vaguely resembles Casper the Friendly Ghost, and who is able to shapeshift into just about anything based on the flavor of the jelly beans that the boy throws for him. And the jelly beans... it doesn't tell you what the jelly beans do, so half the fun is experimenting with them. But there's always a little bit of a mnemonic device to it. Like, if you throw them a tangerine jelly bean, you get a trampoline. If you throw them a punch jelly bean, you get a hole. And...
Oh, okay.
And if the blob isn't in sight, you can throw a ketchup jelly bean, and there he is.
I guess.
Those are the only ones that he won't eat, so he just frowns when you throw him a ketchup jelly bean. But
I mean, I can't blame him.
But anyway, the blob from A Boy and His Blob is hugely influenced by the star of today's show, who is himself influenced by another show that came a couple of, like, a decade or so before it, but the character himself comes from a comic strip, because that's what we're all about here. It's the new Shmoo!
Yeah, the Shmoo. The Shmoo.
The Shmoo.
The Shmoo. Okay, so the Shmoo is a very weird character, and I've always thought that it was kind of weird, because... he's originally from Lil Abner, isn't he?
Yes, the Shmoo got its start in Lil Abner and became a phenomenon. The Shmoo was so popular that it replaced Mickey Mouse on some official government documents.
Damn, I didn't know that there were official government documents with Mickey Mouse on them.
Okay, hang on. Let me look this up again.
I mean, I just like when when Mickey Mouse was declared, I don't know,
dictator for life.
Yeah. We're like, all hail our glorious new leader, Mickey Mouse.
Okay, there it is. The Shmoo was so popular, it even replaced Mickey Mouse as the face of the Children's Savings Bond issued by the U.S. Treasury Department in 1949.
Damn. That's incredible, considering what ultimately became of the Shmoo.
Yes.
Because Mickey Mouse is still known. I think kids today would probably know Mickey Mouse. The Shmoo. Okay, I've always been like kind of weirded out by the trajectory of the Shmoo, because it reminds me of Max Headroom.
Yeah. I think I know exactly what you mean, but go on.
Yeah, so Max Headroom was a character in like a weird kind of indie British dystopian cyberpunk movie, like Max Headroom, 3 Minutes into Future or something. And then for some reason, he started appearing in like new Coke ads, and I just remember being like, what? How did this happen? And the Shmoo feels very similar because he was in Lil Abner, and then for some reason he joined Fred and Barney when they became cops. They were teamed up with the Shmoo, which was strange because he's not a caveman. He's not a dinosaur. He's not any sort of thing like that. But now he exists in Bedrock in the Flintstones time with Fred and Barney, who are also now police officers. Why not?
Yes.
And now apparently the Shmoo has joined up with who are these people? This kind of ersatz Scooby Doo gang?
Yeah, we have the new Shmoo, ain't your dad's Shmoo.
It's my mama's.
The new Shmoo was in fact part of the series. It was its own show, but later it got combined with the Fred and Barney vehicle, Fred and Barney Meet the Thing, and became Fred and Barney Meet the Shmoo. The Thing was still there, but he was bumped off the title.
Was he the Thing from the Fantastic Four?
Yes, the Thing.
Fred and Barney were meeting everyone in those days.
Yeah, it's really random. It was like, Fred and Barney meet Madam. I don't know. Fred and Barney meet Dame Edna.
Like the new well, remember the new Scooby Doo movies where Scooby Doo just started meeting people too?
Yeah.
I guess it was just a thing with Hanna-Barbera.
They could have had Scooby meet Fred and Barney. Why didn't they?
I think has Scooby ever crossed over with the Flintstones? I think it's just in Laugh Olympics, maybe.
I think, that might be it. Except I haven't watched much of the recent series Bedrock, but I think they did establish the idea that not Bedrock, no, Jellystone. The new series Jellystone, which I think established that Bedrock is like a planned community for cavemen in the present.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Oh, so they're like cosplayers or something?
Something like that. I haven't seen the whole thing, but it was their way of getting the Flintstones characters into this world. And
Gotcha.
Captain Caveman and KV Jr. were there, and that was a big surprise to me because I thought KV Jr. was, KV Jr. is still around, but the Flintstone kids are not.
Yeah, KV Jr. is, well, I guess the question about Captain Caveman is kind of an odd character because is he real or is he, or in the world of the Flintstones, is Captain Caveman real or fictional? That is the question. Because as far as I know, Captain Caveman in the Flintstone Kids, he was a television show that they watched.
Yes.
Right?
But then later we have things where Wilma and Betty are working at a newspaper office, and the real Captain Caveman is one of their co-workers and frequently rescues them.
Oh, okay. Wait a second. So if I recall correctly, is he's like kind of a nerd?
Yes.
But he has a secret identity, Captain Caveman.
Yeah, they never really comment on the fact that this nerd wearing glasses otherwise looks exactly like Captain Caveman.
Yeah, I guess that's the same thing with Superman, if you think about it. They got rid of the secret identity in the Flintstone Kids. I don't think he's no longer pretending to be a mild-mannered reporter for, the Bedrock Times or whatever. And then he teams up with the Teen Angels, which is its own other thing.
Actually, that was his first appearance with Captain Caveman and the Teen Angels. So once again, every Hanna-Barbera character gets their start solving mysteries.
I will say this, that putting Captain Caveman into the Flintstones after he solves mysteries with the Teen Angels, that is actually that's a good move. That makes sense, if you said okay, what else can we do with this caveman character? Put him in the Flintstones. Yeah. Oh yes, with the other cavemen. Yes, absolutely. That makes total sense. Unlike, say, putting the Shmoo in with the cavemen, which is insane. Why would you even do that? Why would you think of that?
I like to think that the Shmoo that Fred and Barney knew was some kind of okay, so you know how the dinosaurs and mammoths and everything talk? So the Shmoo is primordial ooze that can say it's a living.
Oh, I mean that makes sense. I don't, as a kid, I don't know if I really thought of what the Shmoo was very much.
Well,
I remember seeing him and just being like, "That's not a dinosaur," but like not really thinking about it beyond that. Like I didn't bother. I think I was just kind of like, whatever. It's a Shmoo. Who cares? But I don't really recall. It wasn't like I had a whole. I had cannoned what the Shmoo was, like I did with Grimace in the McDonald Land, where I was like, "Oh, clearly he must be a big purple French fry, because what else would he be?"
French fry.
Well, I just figured, like, I looked at Grimace and I'm like, well, look, he's got to be some sort of McDonald's food, right? And he's clearly not a hamburger, and he's clearly not a McNugget. The only thing left is a French fry, so I assume he must be a weird, big, purple French fry for some reason.
I like your interpretation of McDonald Land, that everyone there is actually made of their token food. Because, I mean, Officer Big Mac and Mayor McCheese are pretty obvious, but now that's also the implication that Captain Crook is made of Filet-O-Fish.
Oh, yeah, they got rid of... You don't see him very often anymore, do you? Though they still have the Filet-O-Fish, even though...
But also, they did have a fry... They literally had Fry Guys.
Oh, they did. I forgot about the Fry Guys. Okay, well, there goes that theory.
I guess it never occurred to me that they would literally be made of fries, but I guess they look like it.
I mean, they are. They are fry. They could be made of fries, just like off-color fries.
Then again, when they were first created, they were called goblins.
Were they really?
With 2 B's.
Okay,
so they were goblins.
Well. I mean, this just reminds me, like, back when I was doing show with Orlina, and we had a whole episode arguing about what the Fry Guys' genitals look like.
I would argue they have a heterococcus.
I mean, that sounds right. They do look very cephalopody,
yes,
if you think about it. So they have a thing where they just like it. They
have one leg that can detach to become a penis. Yes.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I'd buy that. Really, we know that there are Fry Guys and Fry Girls, so we know that at least they are a species that has genders, I guess. Otherwise, their anatomy is a mystery. But yeah, there's the Fry Guys, there's the McNugget Buddies, which represent McNuggets. There's the Happy Meal gang, that's the whole Happy Meal. I don't know. That's all the foods that exist in McDonald's. There's nothing else.
Yeah, I was always hoping that Ronald would be like, "Here comes my friend, a box of chocolate chip cookies."
Oh yeah, they do. You can get chocolate chip cookies at McDonald's, can't you?
You could. I don't know if you still can.
Yeah, they should be. Which McDonald's character represents the scalding hot coffee that will like weld your pussy shut?
Cosmic.
Yeah, actually, that scans.
Because they did very briefly open a Cosmic restaurant to compete with Starbucks for about 6 months.
Wow! Wait, so Cosmic, the character themed coffee?
Yeah, for real. This happened just like a couple of years ago.
Wow, I feel like that's a little late to the
game. Yeah, it was, but they recognized that there were enough nerds like us who remembered this, very minor spaceship character.
I feel like he's the wrong character, though, to try and appeal to adults for, like, a coffee chain. You know what? Mac Tonight feels like a better one to use, because, he's kind of cool.
Yeah, and he's still space-themed, so yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So, and, he's got his smooth jazz and all that.
Oh, wait.
And,
no. No, I was right. Yeah, it was in December of 2023 that they announced the new Cosmics restaurants.
Wow. Okay.
In Bolingbrook, Illinois.
Okay. Well, of all the places to have their first Cosmic restaurant,
Illinois.
Yeah, that is funny. In 2023, they're like, we're bringing Cosmic back, but I guess they like so many advertising type marketing people made the mistake of thinking that Gen X has money. Yeah. So, some
of the standout drinks from Cosmics included coconut cold brew, pistachio swirl shaken espresso, churro latte. This sounds like a Homestar Runner joke. It's like, Oh
Yeah,
my god,
yeah.
popping pear slush? I felt my stomach wrench.
Wow, that
Pear?
is an
Oh,
pear pear slush, huh?
pear.
Um,
Pears don't
these
even
actually
taste that bad, but just that thought, it's like, oh.
this doesn't really sound like coffee. These, like you said, these sound more like something from like Tim and Eric.
Because they did have coffee,
But
but a lot of other drinks too. So yeah, they had
this is
churro frap,
very
s'mores
late.
cold brew,
Man,
turmeric
this may be
spiced
even
latte.
more. What was that one?
Turmeric spiced latte.
Oh, okay. Well, very adult, I guess. I guess that's it's even more adult than the Arch Deluxe.
Yeah.
Or was it the McDLT? I
Yeah,
can't
it was
remember which
the
was the one
Arch
for
Deluxe, I
adults.
remember. And
The
oh,
Arch
and they
Deluxe.
also had sandwiches. They had the creamy avocado tomatillo sandwich. That is
Okay,
too
all
many
right.
syllables for a sandwich.
It's
Just call it the
it sounds a
Mikado.
little woke. The
Yes.
Mikado.
3 little sandwiches from school are we?
Yeah, I'd like to order the Nanki Poo, please.
I can't read. This
The
is in
Nanki Poo
Japanese.
slush.
Oh wait, we are Japanese.
Well, this is. I feel like this is even more late stage capitalism coded than Garfield
Yeah.
Eats. So, man, what a world! I can't believe that America rejected Cosmic Creamery or whatever it
Yeah.
was called. Well, maybe when McDonald's when they start their Uncle O'Grimacy pub
Yeah. I
chain.
mean, and Grimace's theme is in fact shakes. That's why Uncle O'Grimacy is there for the Shamrock Shake.
Oh yeah, you know what, McDonald's, you're really sleeping on this. Don't leave this money on the table. You go like just open Uncle O'Grimacy's Bar and Grill or
Yeah,
whatever.
Uncle O'Grimacy's shakes and Irish soda bread bagels.
Yeah, yeah, man. You know what? Yeah, get on that. Stop wasting time with Chipotle. That's a dead end. Never gonna happen.
Speaking of
McDonald's.
wasting time, we're supposed to be talking about the Shmoo, aren't we?
Oh yes, we were talking of the Shmoo. So anyway, the Shmoo. He's no longer hanging out with Fred and Barney. He is solving mysteries with these three kids.
Mickey,
These
Nita,
three
and Billy
meddling kids.
Joe.
Yes. So it's basically like a Scooby Doo
Yeah, it's basically
analog.
like Scooby Doo, but I like this a lot better, actually.
Yeah, yeah. I kind of agree with you because we watched 3 episodes. At least I did.
We watched the first 3 episodes, and I came to the conclusion that, you know what, the Shmoo can really carry this show, and way better than Scooby can carry his.
I mean, I am a big Scooby Doo fan. I've always loved Scooby Doo, but the thing about Scooby Doo is basically every episode is the same. Every episode's the same. You know how it is. They go to a place. There's a monster, and they investigate the monster. And it turns out that actually the monster was whatever person they met. They'll meet a person over the course of the episode, and it turns out it's that person dressed as a monster. And usually they're trying to scare people away so that people aren't around there. And this does happen in the new Shmoo show, but I feel like the Shmoo episodes they're a little more complicated. There are a few more wrinkles. Like, it's not so much A to B to C. There's a little more there's a little more thought put into like throwing some wrenches into the gears in these episodes.
For one thing, not every monster is fake.
Yeah, which is, again, that's not something you'd get. Now, that is something you would get in like later Scooby-Doo series, but in classic Scooby-Doo, which is really all we're talking about here, you would never have a real monster. Like, that is just not heard.
You would never hear Scooby
go,
real monsters.
Yeah, he would not be. But now I would like to see a real monsters crossover with Scooby-Doo. I think that'd be great. I think. There's so many great crossovers that they'll never do. But instead, I guess we're past the point where people are excited by novel crossovers. That was like a thing for a while, where we all got really excited if we took the one thing and we put in the other thing. It was like chocolate and peanut butter, but like I think we've all kind of cooled on that.
No. I mean, the problem is that we we got too greedy and we started putting everything together at once. So you have things like Avengers Endgame and, Smash Brothers. It's less a crossover and more like a suicide where you put every drink from the fountain into one cup.
Yeah, I think that's the thing is like now that everything is owned by one company and they just put everything has become Game Master Anthony's birthday. So it's not fun anymore. Because I remember when I first got on the internet, like back in 1995 or whenever, and I remember like I'm gonna look what's on this here internet, and I found that someone had written a thing called a fan fiction, where Pinky and the Brain, you remember Pinky and the Brain, right?
I might.
Okay, they were these two mice, right? One of them's a genius, but the other one's insane. And to prove their mousy worth, they're going to overthrow the Earth. They're Pinky in the Brain. That one, right?
Oh no, I was thinking of something totally different.
Oh, what were you thinking of? Oh, okay. So Pinky and the Brain. Someone wrote a fanfic where Pinky and the Brain crossed over with Dexter's Lab. And I was like, this is the most genius thing I've ever seen in my life. I can't believe that someone came up with this idea. It's so good. Such a great idea because it makes sense. Yep. And I was like really blown away just by the idea that you could do this. Anyway, but like now I'm older and jaded, so it doesn't impress me as much. Also, the fanfic wasn't really that special.
Yeah,
it wasn't like that.
Just the idea alone is pretty amazing. But my favorite of those, I read once a long time ago. Somebody wrote Sailor Moon versus Bananas in Pajamas.
Okay, damn. I kind of need to read that one. I think
it was in fact very funny, and the whole point was that Sailor Moon was battling Bananas in Pajamas because they were what replaced it on weekday mornings on the.
Oh, that's funny. I feel like that was written by a true Sailor Moon fan.
Oh yes. Well, the single funniest line is probably that they're like, we better get out of here, B1. Yeah, you're right, B2. How come we always say each other's names, B1? Probably because we can't tell each other apart, B2. And
I mean, they looked exactly the same.
Yes. And then at the end, she does the tiara, the frisbee, the moon tiara action, and cuts B1 in half, and both of his halves say, "Oh, the agony, B1."
Oh, Bananas in Pajamas. For you kids out there, this was a show about bananas in pajamas.
Literally, we're not even kidding. That was literally what it was about. Bananas in pajamas, and they never took the pajamas off, I don't think. Maybe there was a beach episode, but I wasn't looking.
No. It's based on the, I suppose, nursery rhyme about bananas in pajamas. And they made it into a TV show. It was very British.
It's Australian, actually. But yeah.
Oh, it was? Oh, okay. Well, never mind. I have no clue what's going on there then. What a weird country.
If you're Canadian, think of it as the Australian equivalent of pokeroo.
Ah. Okay, but we in America didn't have Bananas in Pajamas. We had the Shmoo. And the Shmoo... So the Shmoo is hanging out with these three kids. There's, what are their names again?
The kids are Mickey, Nita, and Billy Joe. And one of the only real nods to Lil Abner in this is that all the kids are vaguely Southern.
Yeah, so I'm a little confused because so Mickey is basically, I guess, your Fred analog. He's the leader.
Yeah. He doesn't really have a Scooby Doo analog. Except that I guess he's kind of a gender-flipped Velma. Because he does, in fact, say, according to my... And you think he's going to say calculations, but he says computations, just to throw you off.
Oh, well. I mean, he is the leader, I think, right? He's the leader of the group. He's the smart one. He comes up with the plans. But he's also he's also the egghead. So they kind of combined some Fred and Daphne. Sorry, Fred and Velma into one character.
And then Nita is just Daphne because, I mean... We often say on this podcast her personality is girl, but what does that imply?
Yes. she's girl.
Yeah.
She's there to look as hot as you can look in this limited animation, I guess. The weird thing about her is I was kind of under the impression that she was supposed to be
Yeah,
Latina
she is in fact like
because
a some kind of POC, and I am pretty sure she is in fact supposed to be Latina.
oh, okay, because every so often she suddenly had an accent for like one
Yeah.
line.
Her name
Um,
is Nita,
you know,
probably short for Juanita.
oh, that makes sense. Yeah. Hey, good on Hanna Barbera putting some rep in this in what 1982. Very very unusual. You didn't see a lot of Latin
Yes.
representation in those days. So that's nice. And then there's
Billy Joe,
Billy
who is
Joe, I
kind of
think.
half Fred and half Shaggy at the same time.
Yeah. He is the most southern of all, and he's basically the goofy
Yeah,
coward.
he's
But
kind of a big dumb lunk. And
yeah,
one thing that I think is really interesting about this one that I was disappointed they didn't get more into is that they're in comics. They work for Mighty Mysteries Comics, and I'm pretty sure that Billy Joe is the artist.
yeah, because it looks like Mickey is the writer. He's on the typewriter, and Billy, yeah, we don't really. It looks like he's drawing, isn't it? I
Yeah,
think when we see him. Um, I don't know what Nita
yeah.
does,
I think
but
she's the one who runs in and yells, "Stop the presses!" So I'm guessing she's like the manager or owner or something.
I have to say though, to some degree, I'm watching this show. I'm not sure that the creators understood the difference between comics and newspapers.
Yes, I was gonna say is like every episode is about them going out to investigate some mystery because it'll make a great story for the comics. And it's like, I really wanted Billy Joe to be like, Mickey, can't we just make something up for once?
Yeah, it's interesting because I do. It's just called Mighty Mystery Comics, and it's like, okay, do your comics do they have like characters, or is this kind of like when you read the Ripley's Believe It or Not comic, where it's just like, hey, wacky thing happened, here you go. They also seem to be what like in a trolley car.
Yeah, that was an interesting touch. So are they in a
Yeah,
traveling office?
yeah, they're apparently
They're
well,
barnstorming
no,
comics writers. Wow.
they do have a vehicle to move around that's kind of their own mystery machine.
Yes, it's as far from the mystery machine as you can get, it's a car that's too small for the four of them, and also it only has three wheels.
Yeah, it's like the car that Homer buys from Crazy Vaclav. It's- but yeah, but we also forgot that these three characters, for some reason, they have the Shmoo with them.
Yes.
The Shmoo is helping them.
Now, we
Um,
say it's the Shmoo, but it's the Shmoo in name only, because it doesn't do any Shmoo stuff.
but what is Shmoo stuff?
Okay.
What should the Shmoo
So
be doing?
for those of you who didn't read old comics from the 40s in preparation for this show, the Shmoo is in fact a incredible icon of social commentary, which you might not have realized, because in the comics, Lil Abner discovers the Valley of the Shmoo, which people have been forbidden to enter for centuries, and he brings home the Shmoo and discovers that they can bring society to an absolute standstill, because every single desire that man may have, the Shmoo can fulfill. They provide food either laying it like an egg or just flopping over and cooking themselves when you look at them hungrily enough. They reproduce
Okay.
like crazy, and any need that you have, like suspender buttons and shoelaces, can their eyes and whiskers can provide. They can even lay lit birthday cakes. And they reproduce like crazy, so pretty soon everybody has the schmooze and doesn't need to work anymore. And everyone who owns a business is throwing themselves off a bridge because capitalism is ruined.
Oh well, well, no, knowing what we know about our good pal, our that lovable drunk Al Cap, This is bad, right?
I mean, it's implied to be like, of course this is a good thing, but the society we've built could not last if it happened. So
Yeah.
they start killing off Shmoos en masse. They form a Shmooicide squad.
Wow, I can't believe they did a Shmoo
Yeah,
genocide.
pretty much. And eventually, there's only two Shmoo left, which Abner manages to spirit back into the Valley of the Shmoo. Eventually, they come back, and this time the way they deal with them is they found out that they flop over and cook themselves if you look at them hungrily enough. So they put a giant poster of Pappy Yoakum making the hungriest expression you can everywhere, and all the Shmoo drop dead.
And you're telling me the Shmoo were like phenomenally
Oh
popular with
yes, I
people.
mean, let me see the Shmoo article I was looking at says that the in 1948 Shmoo merchandise generated more than $25 million in sales, which is equivalent to 335 million today.
Jeez.
Yeah, there is a picture of a child in West Berlin holding a care package which included a Shmoo balloon.
Okay.
Wikipedia lists
People love
Shmoo
this.
dolls, clocks, watches, jewelry, earmuffs, wallpaper, fishing lures, air fresheners, soap, ice cream, balloons, ashtrays, toys, games, Halloween masks, salt and pepper shakers, decals, pinbacks, tumblers, coin banks, greeting cards, planters, neckties, suspenders, belts, curtains, fountain pens, and other Shmoo paraphernalia were produced. A garment factory in Baltimore turned out a whole line of Shmoo apparel, including Shmooveralls. In 1948, people were
Okay.
dancing the Shmoo Rumba and the Shmoo Polka.
I guess he was like the Shrek of the
Yeah, very
40s.
much so.
Now that's interesting because I gotta say, like I go to like thrift stores and antique stores, fairly frequently, and you find all sorts of like just absolute garbage that used to be like really popular, throughout American history, the last century. And I have seen like tons of like Little Abner shit. I have never seen any Shmoo shit. So it's just interesting. It's like as everyone is either it's either been like completely forgotten or everyone's holding on to that. Everyone's holding on to it. They love it so much they're not donating that Shmoo shit. Um, but huh. Um, I guess so. I feel like the only time that I ever have seen the Shmoo, because like I said, I've never seen the Shmoo appear in any sort of, I've never seen any Shmoo merchandise left over from this time period. The only time I ever see him is in Hanna Barbera stuff. So
Yes. And you notice that in
somehow
Hanna-Barbera
that's
stuff, all of the social commentary stuff is gone.
now could the original Shmoo like change shape?
No.
Oh, so that's the Hanna Barbera
Yeah,
invention.
so this Shmoo can't do any of the original Shmoo things, and everything it can do does not come from the Shmoo. It comes from the Herculoids.
Oh, you mean those two blob
Yes,
things?
Gloop and Gleep. You'll notice that many of the things that the Shmoo does are derived from old Gloop and Gleep sight gags.
Oh, okay. So how did Hanna Barbera get their hands on the Shmoo?
I have no idea. It really, and what's funny is that there is no backstory for why these three comic strip writers have the Shmoo. And what's even funnier is that no one in the world is surprised to see a Shmoo with them.
Yeah, yeah. It's
No
like
one ever
it's
says, "What
normal.
even is this thing?" The Shmoo floats up to a gangster and kisses him, and he just says, "We got big trouble, boss. There's 3 kids here." Is the Shmoo invisible?
Oh yeah, everyone's kind of like everyone's doing that thing where they're just like not acknowledging him, like the talking baby and Family Guy or
Yeah.
something. Okay, that's really yeah, the Shmoo's main thing. Yeah, the Shmoo can change shape, and the Shmoo loves kissing
Yeah, that
people. Like
that
that's
is,
another big Shmoo
that
thing.
I feel is the closest thing to it being, the original Shmoo from the comic strips, is that this Shmoo is, has no hate in its heart and loves everybody. It just wants to come. If you're a monster, he will come up and kiss you and become your friend. And honestly,
Yeah.
I found him very charming for that reason. Just that, he's kind of like Bill and Ted. There's nothing, there's no darkness to him. It's kind of like that. It's kind of like one of those Grimm's fairy tales where the two guys say, "I won't share my food," and then the third one says, "I'll share," and then the fairy or whoever makes everything happen for him because he was generous. That's what the Shmoo is like.
I have no beef with the Shmoo. That high pitched Frank Welker voice is a little annoying.
Oh yes,
but,
that's the other thing. There are so many interesting connections here because you only have to watch half an episode to be like, wait a minute, this is just Slimer.
Yeah, it's
He's literally Slimer, except that he's white instead of green. He floats around, he goes, and he kisses you.
Yeah, he doesn't slime people, which is fine.
No, he schmoos
we don't see a lot of that.
Apparently,
he does schmooze people.
Nothing can stop the schmooze.
Nothing can stop. Don't even try. But he does go on. We see him go with these three kids on 3 adventures, all of which are vaguely kind of Scooby Doo coded. Like these are adventures that like you would not be surprised to see Scooby Doo go on because they do involve like costumed villains being unmasked at the end of the thing, but they aren't quite as like, as we said, they're not as linear as Scooby Doo. And I think the first of these 3 episodes was really the most un-Scooby Doo-ish of the 3. Because in this one, there's a superhero in town, Mentor. And, we really don't get a real sense of what kind of world the Shmoo trio lives in because there's a superhero and everyone is pretty taking it in stride.
Yeah. I think they realized that, if there's a Shmoo in this world, then anything fucking goes.
Yeah. It doesn't seem like superheroes are a regular occurrence, but when one shows up, people are just like, yeah, that scans. Because this guy, Mentor, shows up and basically starts nabbing bank robbers, and the cops are like, yeah, he's doing pretty good. I wonder where he's taking all those bank robbers. Which was an interesting thing to say, because I was like, obviously I assumed, a superhero, he's taking them to jail. Wait, he's not? What's going on here?
That suggests a very interesting story about a superhero who literally kidnaps criminals and like puts them to work in a factory or something.
Yeah, which is kind of almost what is happening here, but there's a twist. But like, so the Mentor comes to town and he's doing a lot of crime fighting, and everyone loves Mentor. Everyone thinks he's just, the cat's meow.
Yeah.
He's the bee's knees, the elephant's instep.
He has a big skull with which he does his mental powers and pointed ears that no one ever brings any attention to.
Yeah, he's his powers. He's got like some sort of mesmerism power, I think is what it seems like. But he can also fly and has super strength. And so everyone in town starts dressing like him because he's so cool, and everyone is, even Bobby Joe starts dressing like him.
Yeah, everybody is cosplaying as Captain Mentor, and there is one fairly funny bit where a hot lady goes by in the Captain Mentor outfit, and Billy Joe is like, still think it's a silly costume, Mickey? He's like, well, it looks better on some people than others.
Yeah, it's a little one for the grown-ups in the audience. But yeah, everyone, even the bank president is wearing this Mentor costume too when they go, because they go to the Post National Bank to talk to the the bank president.
Post National Bank?
After
like
the Post National
Post
Bank.
Raisin Bran? What?
Yeah. It takes 2 scoops of unmarked bills when but here's the thing. Billy Joe one of the reasons that he is so enamored with Mentor is not just because Mentor saved the money for the bank, but also because he was personally saved by Mentor when his bike got stuck in like hot asphalt,
Yeah.
and he was going to be run over by
A runaway
what do you
steamroller,
call
of
that?
course.
Runner steamroller. Yes, and immediately when this happens, like one of the construction guys is like, "Look out!" And I was like, "Huh, that construction guy has the exact same character model as one of the bank robbers we saw earlier. Interesting." And
So he's starting to put the mystery together, which is, something that Scooby Doo didn't often do for you. Because
no,
you saw the guy who is the ghost once, and then he's just the ghost for the rest of the episode.
yes. I mean, in Scooby Doo, you could figure out the you usually figured out the mystery not because of the clues, but because there's only one suspect. And this one, it isn't really clear. Like Mickey and Nita are suspicious of Captain Mentor, and they're just kind of like, yeah, we really don't know much about him. It's just kind of strange, and so they really want to investigate him because they think this whole thing is just fishy, and he really isn't even committing crimes for most of the episode. I'm giving some spoilers away here by saying that, but yeah, it does give the audience some actual clues that led us to kind of start drawing the same conclusion as Mickey and Nita, that Captain Mentor is not all on the level. But he rescues Billy Joe from being hit by a steamroller, and then he rescues a school bus full of kids from being hit by the steamroller. And interesting thing about this is when he does that, the kids in the school bus all cheer for him, but they don't move.
Yeah. I thought that was an animation error at first, because there is a big animation error in this later, but we'll get to that.
Yeah, I did too. So when later on we find out it's not an animation error, I was like, "Wow, this is some real like this is like it feels like what was it? You get one of those Graham Base like books, like the 11th
like
hour,
Animalia. No, the 11th hour. I know what you mean. Yeah,
where you actually have to figure it out.
Animalia did not have a mystery. It was just cool.
Oh, it didn't. I thought it did have a mystery.
No, it was just an alphabet.
Oh, never mind then. So they are investigating him, and they figure out that, like, well, all of his. First of all, it seems that he has stopped several bank robbers who all look suspiciously similar to each other. It's always like one tall, thin bank robber with a pencil-thin mustache and one short, fat bank robber. This is kind of interesting that they seems to keep getting the same dudes. And
listen, if you're gonna be a bank robber who pulls a lot of jobs, shave yourself clean and just wear fake mustaches and hair pieces, so they won't recognize you.
That would be the smart. Yeah, that would be the smart thing to do. But the criminal mind is generally not very intelligent. So that's what Batman taught us. But Captain Mentor. They basically realize all of his crime fighting happens within a very specific area, so they theorize that his base of operations must be central. If you triangulate all of those things, you'll find his base of operations, which is some abandoned warehouse. And
actually, an old theater.
Oh, sorry, a theater.
Yeah,
yes,
a theater where the dilapidated sign says that now playing ass. Except it's AAS instead of ass.
Yeah, it's but that's the thing is, like, in the days it's the biggest movie of idiocracy. So they go in, they find Captain Mentor, and he's like, I'll show you my operations to put your minds at ease. And he shows that he has got like these two criminals, right? Tall, thin one, short, fat one, and he is rehabilitating them. He's teaching them how to be honest citizens and do like honest work.
That's right. Lift that box. Now put it down again, or something like that.
Yeah, which is very funny to begin with, but also Mickey and Nita realize, like, wait a minute, those are the criminals that we saw you arrest yesterday, but they in their pockets they've got the bandanas that the criminals we saw you arrest today were wearing. What is going on here? So they're putting two. You can't pull anything over on these kids.
Yeah.
They're putting two and two together. And Captain Mentor is all like, ha ha ha. Well, I'll show you my radio control room.
Yeah, my secret crime lab. Or something to that effect.
Because we forgot to mention that he did a broadcast earlier where he explained that he was from a planet where all crime had been solved. And so now he's come to Earth to solve all crime on Earth.
I really don't feel like, the end of crime is really an interplanetary issue.
Yeah, it's just like, well, you know how the nanny state is. So he's coming here and he's like, I need to leave. Earth needs me. There's too much crime. But he locks them all in his room because it turns out it's all just like stage sets. It's all fake. He's not a real guy.
Nope.
He's been faking it all. And his
bottom.
whole plan, his whole plan was to basically stage a bunch of fake bank robberies, which he could then conveniently show up as like a snowball artist that he is to deal with the effect with a fake electronic light show, and and then everyone in the city would be so enamored with him that they would just give him the keys to all the banks,
which they did.
They did, and so now he can just rob all the banks. Honestly, a really good plan. That's a brilliant plan. It's a way better plan than anything you'd ever see in Scooby Doo, where everyone's just like, I was doing a crime and I wanted to scare everyone away, so I decided to dress up like a ghost, which is like you mean doing the opposite of what would make people go away, because like everyone's gonna want to see that. But no, this plan is actually like pretty good. It's actually really funny. But then he goes to rob a bank, and our heroes have to go and like stop him. Oh, how do they get it? Oh, the Shmoo.
Yes, this is where you may have forgotten that the Shmoo was part of this, but yeah, the Shmoo demonstrates his ability to squeeze down to the size of a mouse, go through a mouse hole, and find his way to the other side of the room. He does meet a cat along the way, but he returns to his normal Shmoo shape and kisses the cat, and the cat panics and squeezes down the mouse hole itself.
Yeah, the cat has gay panic.
Yeah.
So, then the Shmoo releases them, but they can't call the police because the phone line has been cut. So they have to deal with this themselves, and they go to the bank and
they catch What
do they do?
They catch Captain Mentor and his friends in the act, and the Shmoo activates the burglar alarm that they now know that they otherwise avoided, and now I feel like the way that they fight Captain Mentor here is mostly through like maybe he has a weakness, and it's like, oh, this was our first guess was it. So
yeah, I mean that's pretty much what they do. Because they say that, like, well, Billy Joe's like, what are we going to do? And they're like, well, we'll observe him and find out what his weakness is, and then we'll use that. And he's like, what does that mean? And he's like, well, it means we'll wing it. And Billy Joe is like, oh, I liked it better. I didn't understand what you were saying. But they use fire extinguishers.
Look at this freeze frame I got here. Look what it says on the outside of the theater.
Let me take a look. Whoa, wait a second. Wait a second. They knew what they were doing.
They knew exactly what they were doing. It says asshole.
Oh my god. Wow. Hanna-Barbera, you dogs. Yeah, it says AASHLE.
Yeah, read between the lines, man.
Yeah. Oh, well, that's going to be the episode header.
Of course it is.
Oh, man. The Shmoo. Da Shmoo.
Actually, no.
Okay,
I have something
so,
better to be the episode header, and we'll save it. I'll share it with you at the end.
Oh, okay. Well, interesting. So, the Shmoo. So wait a second. So they basically figure out that like Captain Mentor he's got like a little rocket pack under his cape. That's how he flew, and he's also wearing like an exoskeleton, which is what gives him his super strength.
Yes. But where does he get his hypnosis powers? That doesn't really come up.
He's just really charismatic.
He's just got it. He's got that Trump thing.
Yeah, he's got the X Factor.
Yeah.
He's got Moxie. He's got Riz. he's got Drip.
He can Riz him with the tism.
Yeah, he's just he's got he's got chutzpah.
The one thing he hasn't got a Shmoo.
No, and that's why he fails. And when the cops come, and I don't know why the cops come, they just happen. Oh, they tripped the burglar alarm.
Yes.
That's right. So the cops come and they unmask Captain Mentor, and it turns out it's Otis Jones, the famous bank robber.
Also, I really love this shot where Nita pulls off his costume to reveal the fake muscles underneath, and it really looks like she's giving him a double purple nurple. And also, when she pulls it off, there's actually fake nipples on the exoskeleton.
It's like the bat suit in the Joel Schumacher movie. So this was, and then they Billy Joe is kind of like, oh, well, he's all disappointed, because he's like, I feel stupid for like...
Never meet your heroes, Billy Joe.
Yeah. And they do the thing where they're like, actually, maybe, Billy Joe, the real hero is in you the whole time, because you love sandwiches.
Yep.
And he's like, I got a heroic appetite. But yeah, I thought this was actually like the way this episode is structured was like very surprising to me. I thought it would be just, guy doing a crime, like a monster doing a crime, and they would unmask the monster. But there's this whole thing about like, where they're Captain Mentor is like deceiving everyone, and Billy Joe has to deal with this like disillusionment of finding out that like he's really bad, a bad guy in fact, and there's a lot more here than the average Scooby Doo episode.
Yeah.
So
it kind of makes me want to look up more of these mystery solving shows and see if any more of them have really by now Scooby Doo was 10 years old, so they learned a lot.
Yeah. And they've used the formula in like, Speed Buggy and Rickety Rocket and Fang Face.
Were they solving mysteries in Rickety Rocket? Space mysteries?
I thought weren't they? Yeah, racist space mysteries. Or as we call it now, spacist race mysteries. I'm pretty sure there were mysteries in Rickety Rocket. Boy, you know what? I'll tell you this. I didn't realize how racist that was when I was a kid. I actually remember watching Rickety Rocket and kind of liking it because, there's a rocket ship that talks in it. It was... I liked anything that was Scooby-Doo formula, but like I saw it again as an adult, and I was like, "Whoa, wow!"
It was not necessary to put big rubber lips on the front of the rocket. Good lord,
it's problematic. I'll just say this: I have shown it to people of even older than I am, who are immediately like, "Yeah, that's pretty racist," which is it's hard to miss. It's pretty racist. But you know what? Hey, I don't know if it's as racist as the Charlie Chan series that Hanna-Barbera did.
Oh, the Amazing Chan and the Chan Clan?
Yeah, that's the one. I guess, I don't know. I guess that'll be for another episode. We compare the racism of old Hanna-Barbera shows. But yeah, so in this one, they've been doing it for a while, but they do shake it up a bit. I feel like this was a surprisingly multifaceted episode for one of these shows. Yeah.
And for the first episode, they don't give you... They take absolutely no interest in explaining, what the Shmoo is or how they got him or anything. It's just like, the Shmoo. Everyone knows the Shmoo, right? He's what your great-grandpa thought was hip.
Yeah, that is very Hanna-Barbera to be like 50 years behind the times with like, hey, kid, hello, fellow young people. Yeah.
This is why,
You know,
okay, my theory is that it literally is a new Shmoo. My theory is that this is some sort of shape-shifting alien who took on the form of the Shmoo because everyone knows the Shmoo. And that's why no one is
oh,
surprised to see the Shmoo.
you know what? That makes a lot of sense. I mean, imagine if like that does kind of make me think it's like Contact, you
Yeah.
know, where it's like I've
Jodie
taken the
Foster
form
met
of
the
your
alien and it
father.
was a Shmoo.
Yeah, I mean, it really is like if you think the alien is like I've taken on the form of someone that like you would recognize, or like you know, it's like I've assumed the form of someone that you would recognize and respect. Sir Isaac Newton, who like Colonel Clink. Um, but yeah, I guess it's like if an aliens came and they were all like looked like Mickey Mouse and Ronald McDonald, you know, to us. They're like we've assumed, oh, you know, these are forms that you understand. Um,
It
uh,
again back to comic strips. It's like when the aliens came to Earth in Bloom County, and it turned out that they looked like cute little puppies. And
oh
yeah,
wow, yeah.
big trouble. He's telegenic. God damn it,
Oh
Lindblom!
man.
You said he'd look like the Blob. No, I said you did.
Now, there is a second episode of the
Yeah.
Shmoo that we watched, and I feel like this is the most Scooby Doo of the three.
Yes. And yet, the least in that, like I said, there is in fact a real monster.
Yeah, so it's basically there's a lake monster. There's a lake and there's a monster, and a guy in a mustache is like on a boat going like, "Everyone run away! There's a monster!" And as soon as I saw this guy, I was like, "That guy is doing it. He's doing it. He's behind this whole thing. He is using it probably to scare away all these like these these darn beach going kids. Um, Though the plan is slightly more convoluted than that. I thought he just didn't want like a bunch of like, noisy kids
Yeah.
around. But then our Shmoo Brigade comes up to investigate the lake monster. And we meet not only our mustache guy, but also some old lady.
And
Mrs.
an old lady
Taggersham or
who is
something.
being threatened by the monster in her lifeboat, and perhaps she wasn't expecting that the Shmoo would come to her rescue in the form of a life preserver.
Yeah. And she's not she's not happy about the monster, but she's warning them all. She's the one who's warning them all, don't go out there, the lake monster will get you or something, right?
Yeah, they're like, well, we have to find out about the monster because that's what we're here for. We're doing comics. We have to do live research for comics. Who ever heard of making
Yeah.
up a monster for comics? That's just silly.
I mean, they've got integrity.
They've got a Shmoo. That's better. But
Yeah, that's the best thing you can have. So they go to look for this lake monster, right?
yeah,
And they find him. They find him immediately.
there isn't
But
even a struggle. But the monster is just like sniveling and cowering away from them. They're not acting like it did before. And that's when they discover the monster is actually trapped and chained in place.
yeah, so he's fallen into a trap. The Shmoo rescues him. Like pulling the thorn from the lion's paw.
Yeah.
The Shmoo rescues him, and turns out this monster is friendly.
Yeah. Also, the Shmoo turns into a Jack, and once again, this is, in fact, a boy and his blob power. Apple equals Jack.
Oh, okay. There you go. Do you think that they knew about the Shmoo when they made A Boy in His Blob?
Yes, they specifically cited the Shmoo as an influence. It looks almost exactly like the Shmoo.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. I guess they were like, look, everyone loves this.
Yep.
Everyone loves this damn Shmoo. Why not? But there's something odd going on here because this monster, is friendly. But earlier, the monster seemed very belligerent. It seemed to not like people. So what is going on here? There's some sort of incongruity happening, and we got to investigate a little more to find out what is behind this boggle. And it turns out that there's a second monster.
A second monster, but it's not real.
No, it's a submarine with a monster facade on it.
Yeah, I don't
it
know that. How do you sneak a submarine into a lake? How big is this lake?
it's I mean it's I guess this lake is I guess it's pretty big. It must be a pretty big
Yeah.
lake. Um, if it can accommodate not just a submarine but also an actual monster
Yeah. How much
too.
do you think that monster
Uh,
eats?
I mean, here's a question: how big would a lake have to be to support a lake monster? Which would probably be part of a lake monster population. Now that I think about
Yeah.
it, probably have to be pretty big. This has got to be one of those Great Lakes they're always talking
Yeah.
about. Now, it turns out that who is behind this? It's not just the mustache guy, but it's also Mrs. Haverflam or whatever her name is. They're in cahoots, and their plan was that not to scare away kids because they wanted like some peace and quiet. They want to scare away all the kids because that would crash the local economy, and all the like lakeside store owners would be forced to sell their property at a loss to Mrs. Flaverflam. And did she say why she wants it? Or I don't think
No,
so.
she just wants it, but I guess she has some other plan to get the. How is she going to undo the damage she did? Is she going to say, "Oh, I'll bet they cut that part out because then we'll just show people the dead monster because there really was a monster."
Oh yeah, which they caught.
Yes.
So yes, so that would make sense. Because yeah, once again, the only flaw in this plan is that if you had an actual lake monster, people would generally want to go see it. You
Yeah.
know, especially because here's the thing. Okay, if I heard, oh, there's a monster in this lake. I would say, well, I'm obviously going to go see it and stay locally and spend a lot of money in the local economy because here's the thing, all those stores, they're on land
Yeah.
where the monster can't go. So I'm not exactly scared of the monster. So they didn't think their cunning plan through.
Unless it's the land creature of Monster Lake, but that's totally different.
That's a totally different monster.
Yes.
And, good book, though.
Good books. Very good book.
Yeah. Yeah. A classic of the genre. Of the genre book. No, that's done by, if those of you who don't know, we're referencing Land Creature of Monster Lake. Did I say it right, actually?
Yeah, that is right. Yeah.
Okay, I just realized I might have gotten it wrong. The Land Creature Monster Lake, done by friend of the pod, Steph Cherrywell. And a great book, which is available where great books are sold, most likely.
Yes.
Except, I assume.
I mean,
I'm sure you can find.
if you find the Land Creature of Monster Lake there, they definitely sell great books.
Yes, yeah. You can find it places. I don't know what I'm talking about anymore. It should be in more places, I think.
Yeah.
But
I'm fairly sure you can buy it. I thought maybe you could buy it directly from Steph, but maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
Maybe. I mean, by this point, like I mean, considering that slave. Well, yeah, I think maybe because like slave labor SLG.
Slig.
I believe I don't think they're around anymore.
No,
Are they still around?
Disappointingly.
Yeah, I think they finally shuffled off this mortal coil. But I do know that finally the rights to Malleus Maleficarum reverted back to me, and that came out after
Yes.
the Land Creature Monster Lake. So I would assume that Steph now owns the rights again. So I don't know. They'll have to tell us, I guess. We're just making up like what they should do with this now. But anyway, the monster in the Shmoo is not a land monster. It's very clearly a water monster. It can't come out of the water. You'll be fine. You'll be fine on land. But I've completely forgotten how they defeat this monster. Actually, now that I think about it, what did they do?
What do they do? The real monster comes up underneath the fake monster and runs it aground.
Oh,
Because they
okay.
freed the
And
real
that
monster earlier, now it's able to fight with them.
right. So
And of course, the
it's
Shmoo, being friend to all, immediately makes friends with the timid monster.
yes. And it's good for him.
Yes.
Good for the Shmoo. Um, but and that solves the day.
Yes.
So
This one
again,
is a 15-minute episode as opposed to a half-hour one.
oh, did they have two parters in this one?
No, no, they just
Two
had
part?
some of them were half-hour stories and some of them were 15-minute stories. And when the show became Fred and Barney Meet the Shmoo, surprisingly, they didn't use any of the 15-minute ones, only the half-hour ones.
Oh,
Fred
that's
and Barney Meet the
weird.
Shmoo was a 90-minute program.
Oh boy. I don't know if I could take 90 minutes of Fred and Barney meeting the Shmoo.
Well, I mean, you'd have you'd have the Shmoo cartoon, and then you'd have a Fred and Barney cartoon, and then you'd have a The Thing cartoon. And it's like, I mean, they're not really, there's not, they never actually meet except in, Fred and Barney never actually meet the Shmoo in this particular show. It was the next one, the Fred and Barney Funnies or whatever it was. That's the one that had Fred and Barney as cops teaming up with the Shmoo.
Okay, so they were just in parallel stories. They never actually
Yes.
interacted in this original Fred and Barney Meet the Shmoo.
However, Fred and
Oh,
Barney did
God.
meet the Thing in some of the bumpers in between shows, where they would literally, like, Fred and Barney would shuffle on from one side, and the Thing would from the other, and they'd have boaters and straw canes, and
Oh, they did that whole, like,
yeah,
this is it. We hit the heights, bro. What heights we
yeah,
hit. On with the show. This is it. I do like at the end of this episode though, where where Mickey makes the magnanimous decision to kill the story about the lake monster so they can protect the lake monster's identity because
yeah.
he hates publicity, that lake monster. So he's like, he's got the page that he's writing in his clipboard. He puts a big X through it. Like, we're not going to do a comic story about the lake monster because, we don't want to, like, this is to repay our lake monster friend for saving us from the fake
Yep.
monster.
The fake monster of, the fake monster
The,
of Land Lake. Wait, hang on.
yeah, the fake monster of the fake lake monster versus
The fake
the
lake
beast
monster
of
of the
Black
real
Lake.
lake. There we go.
Yeah, it's a real lake, but a fake monster. What do I think of next? Anyway, so that was the second episode of the Shmoo. I think it's, again, it's the most Scooby Doo esque, but it does have this wrinkle where with an actual real monster showing up, which would have never happened in the original Scooby Doo series. It might happen in, like, a pup named Scooby Doo,
Yeah,
maybe.
that's the
Like,
earliest I can imagine it happening.
yeah, like they would do, like, and I know that Scooby Doo on Zombie Island really played up the fact that it had real monsters as, like, the big new the thing, right?
Yeah.
Um, so, but so this was a little, playing again. They played with the formula a bit, and then we have our third episode,
Yes.
our third
The
thing,
Bermuda Triangle.
and this one. So this one's kind of interesting.
This is almost more of a G.I. Joe plot.
This one is so bonkers, because the basic plot is that the Shmoo and his Shmoo pals want to go on a plane trip into the Bermuda Triangle in order to, find fodder for their comics, right? I think is what they
Yeah.
want. And Billy Joe is not happy about this, but, like, Mickey, again, is like, we are comics writers with integrity. We can't just make stuff up. We have to experience everything we put in the comic. But by an amazing coincidence, it turns out that the pilots for this plane that they charter are actually international jewel thieves who have robbed a jewelry store. And they have a big briefcase full of jewels and, like, crowns and tiaras and stuff that they stole from a jewelry store. And they're trying to make their escape, but unfortunately they get saddled with these meddling kids in their plane and so that makes things a little harder.
If it
They,
wasn't for you meddling kids in your whatever the hell that thing is.
yeah. So, and I do like these pilots are dressed like bank robbers.
Yeah. Somehow they don't catch on.
Yeah, they got the fedora and the like, the kind of gangster like, three-piece suit and
Yeah.
everything. They have everything but the little flower and the lapel. Um, and they basically they so the bank robbers crashed the plane in the Bermuda Triangle on purpose because they want to, and they put like the kids in like a life raft. They're like, "Go on, get out of here. We'll stay behind at the plane."
Yes. Now, they didn't
But
realize the kids were on board. They tried to take off without them, not realizing that the kids were in the hold looking for Shmoo, who had gotten curious about the hold. Perhaps
yes,
because he knew that
so
the jewels were in there.
yep. So this is so okay. So now that they've crashed, here's where things start getting interesting. A submersible appears with a bunch of uh, purple scuba suited alien type guys.
Yeah. I mean, my first thought was aliens, but, I think they were kind of trying to thread the needle because, there wasn't a lot of, there wasn't a lot of agreement over what the mystery of the Bermuda Triangle is. So they're like, well, maybe it's both Atlantis and aliens.
Yeah, yeah. They're trying to they're trying to please everyone here. And these Atlanteans, basically, they kidnap the two bank robbers, right? But and they tell the three no, they basically like yeah, they use their like their pincher hydraulic hands to grab the bank robbers who are trying to swim away and like kidnap them. And they tell the kids in the life raft, get out of here, shoo, you kids,
Yes.
don't ever come back to the Bermuda Triangle. And the kids are like, well, we really have to investigate this incredible scientific discovery, which is aliens, right?
Yeah, I think
Um,
there must be something in the show Bible about golden rule. If the kids didn't work. If the kids weren't being curious in the name of their jobs, then none of this would happen. It's all be about rewarding investigation.
right. Because now, as far as I know at this point, these two bank robbers are just the plane pilots, and the kids have absolutely no concern for the fact that the aliens have just kidnapped these guys.
Yeah, they don't give a shit about these guys.
Yeah, considering these guys were like gave up their only life raft to like let the kids survive while they were gonna go down with the ship, and they're just the kids are like, yeah, well, fuck those guys, who cares? And this is the thing, right? The kids go down. Well, there's some mystery here, right? And I think it's established fairly quickly that these aliens are not actually aliens, right?
Yeah, they sure don't act like aliens. They're way too.
Exactly. They're very there's and I think like the kids go to their like secret base and see their like submarine which has like a big weird like ray gun on it, and they're like, that ray gun looks suspiciously like just a a solar light or something. And so it's like, okay, it's obvious that these are just guys in costumes because of course this is a Scooby Doo type show. But here's the question, right? And this question kind of is the thing that had me wondering the whole episode, right? Are the alien looking guys in cahoots with the bank robbers, or is this an entirely different criminal scheme that just happens to overlap, right? Like, because keep in mind, the bank robbers' plan was to disappear into the Bermuda Triangle, as far as we know, to make their escape. But because the kids were on there, they decided to crash into the Bermuda Triangle to get rid of the kids, which indicates this was not like part of the plan. But the aliens are there. So it seems like they didn't plan to meet the aliens, and the aliens treat them in a way that definitely seems like they are actual prisoners of the aliens. But is that the case, or has this all been planned from the beginning, and they're all in it together? And I could not figure it out. I kept trying to figure it out.
My best
I
guess
couldn't.
is that they couldn't count on not having any passengers.
Yeah. So apparently, that was a contingency plan because at the end of the episode, I think it is established that yes, they're all in cahoots. This was all one scheme. But until they're unmasked by the Coast Guard at the end, it's kind of unclear. And I was really wondering. I was trying to figure it out, and because they put like the bank robbers in like a bamboo cage, and they put like you know the
And they put
the
the
Shmoo
Shmoo in
crew.
like a cat taxi that he apparently can't escape from, which is weird because we just saw him basically stretch to the thickness of a piece of spaghetti while lassoing onto the swimming flying saucer in order to follow them.
Yeah, the Shmoo gains and loses powers as necessary to the
Yeah.
plot.
Also,
Uh,
there's a great scene where the Shmoo is fighting a shark, and I say it's great because this shark is terrifying. It has such dead eyes. It looks
but the Shmoo
it
thinks
looks
it's a game.
absolutely terrifying until the Shmoo turns around and kisses it, and then the shark turns around and literally walks away with beads of sweat on its forehead, like I don't know what to think of this.
Yeah, I mean it's it's kind of confusing.
Yes. I wouldn't know what to
Um,
think if I got kissed by a Shmoo, apart from, hey, lay me a birthday cake!
yeah. That'd be interesting. Um, but yeah. So the Shmoo does a cake. Wait. So yeah. So trying to think like so. What else does the Shmoo do in this
Oh,
episode?
also, the... Oh, the... What does the Shmoo do? They have a big Whitewater Rapids chase where, there are a lot of opportunities for the Shmoo to rescue them that he doesn't, which is kind of irritating. But eventually, they get broken into two groups: Billy Joe McAllister and the Shmoo, and also the other two who get captured. So it's up to Billy Joe and the Shmoo to rescue them. Which I believe the Shmoo. Oh, it looks like he turns into a giant fist to knock on the door, but I think Billy Joe talks him out of it.
Yeah, because they have to be sneaky. They come up with a plan where basically Billy Joe like pulls out like a bullhorn, and is like, "Everyone return to your stations," and all the alien guys just return to their stations and abandon the prisoners. So they're able to rescue them.
And the Shmoo turns into a ladder, another Boy and his Blob bit, licorice ladder.
Yep. Oh, so that wasn't Boy and his
Yeah.
interesting. They really were Shmoo inspired.
Yeah.
Um, so they save the day. It is funny because the two jewel thieves basically are like you try and get the kids to go to escape.
Yeah. They keep, yeah, and
And
Nita is the one who points out, how come every time they tell us to save ourselves, it sounds like they're trying to get rid of us? Because they are.
yeah, they are. I have to say that like these, I really have a lot of sympathy for the jewel thieves
Yeah.
because like, it's like they could just kill you. They're really going out of their way to like to get rid of you in a non-lethal way. But like they just keep stealing the jewels from these guys because they run away with the suitcase full of jewels, and the jewel thieves are like, yeah, you weren't supposed to do that.
Yeah.
But
And that's how they end up saving the day because the Shmoo gets off of their battleship with the jewels, and he sticks it in the tiller or the rudder. So the alien ship, which is piloted by not really aliens, can only go in circles until, at long last, the Coast Guard arrives.
Yeah.
Something about this
It's
reminds me of an Uncle Scrooge story, though I'm not sure which one.
yeah, it does have that vibe. It does feel very Carl Barks, doesn't it?
And they don't touch on it much, but one of Billy Joe's personality traits is that he doesn't believe in mystery.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
it's like I don't
How
believe it.
so?
He's literally like he's really like Strong Bad in the Homestar Misfits. There's no such thing as mysterious.
I mean, that's funny. I mean that's so. I guess he's like he doesn't like mysteries, so maybe he isn't a good fit for Mystery Moon Comics or whatever it is that he's working for.
I sort of,
Mystery Murder
I
Comics.
think if they had leaned into the comics angle, it would have made this a whole lot better. The idea that here are some people who work in comics, but they keep getting stirred into actual comic book situations, even more so by the fact that they have a literal comics character that everyone knows, the Shmoo.
Oh, do you think that what if the Shmoo came out of the comic and that's
That
his
might be
origin?
that would be a very interesting touch. I'm not sure what color Shmoos are really supposed to be, but they're traditionally white because it was a black and white comic. So
Yeah, did he never have Shmoos appear on Sundays?
I don't know if he had color. Gee, I don't know if I've ever seen a Sunday at Little Abner.
Yeah, that's true. I'm not sure about that either. We'll have to ask
Yeah,
Morbius. But yeah, so they stop the baddies and save the day, and that's the Shmoo.
yeah. They sub the baddies and save the day, and Billy Joe says, "I knew there was nothing really mysterious about the Bermuda Triangle," and Rita says, "Well, what about that?" And she points to the radar, and there's a triangle on it. And Billy Joe shits his pants. It's like, a triangle! Tell it I'm not here!
Yeah, I thought that was funny. It's like, wait, what are you actually scared of? A geographic area? Is that what's happening?
And then it turns out that not only is the triangle on the screen the Shmoo, also the Shmoo is asleep next to the radar dish, and he's snoring triangles. He is snoring
Yeah,
triangles that rain down with his own face as everyone cackles. And I was looking at this particular shot, and I was like, I think I'm going insane. I think I am literally going insane now.
that's the Shmoo for
That's
you.
and that's the picture for this episode.
There we go. Yeah, yeah, that's good. That's good. Well, you guys, I hope you're all excited. I hope you all enjoyed the new Shmoo crew.
The new
The sh-
Shmoo review.
yeah,
Shmoobly
shmoobly shmoo.
shmoo, shmoobly shmoo.
Yeah, that's our Shmoo.
That's our Shmoo. That's our
Okay.
Shmoo,
Well,
folks. He'll be back.
so how do you feel about the Shmoo?
To be honest, my favorite Shmoo thing of all time is still that cartoon you did with Fred and Barney testing each other like they were in The Thing.
Oh yeah, that was pretty funny. That was really funny. That should have gotten more likes,
Yes,
but
it was derived from
unfortunately, I'm
something
not
we
very.
came up with on this show, so I feel like it lends us a little more immortality.
That's right. Unfortunately, I wasn't very good at capturing either the look of the Thing or the Flintstones. So, but yeah, the Shmoo. That was Bonnie, my Shmoo.
But that
But
could
yeah,
that
it
could
was.
never happen. You couldn't have Barney my pebbles with the Shmoo because it'd be like, Barney my Shmoo. Oh, it reproduced 12 times already. I'll take all you want.
That's true. Well, they don't. We don't live in a post Shmoo scarcity society,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
What
But
what would they do now? There's so many more needs that we want. It's like, oh no, all the video game companies have gone out of business because the Shmoos are really easy to program.
yeah, I think yeah, yeah. Well, that's why they don't let us go into Shmoo
Yeah,
Valley.
we'll find it someday.
But
We'll find it someday.
someday.